What's up, my corrupted family? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I want to talk about specifically why Yuta, I think, stands a pretty decent chance against Sukuna in the next coming chapters. More specifically, why I think Yuta is going to impress the King of Curses, possibly more than anyone barring Gojo Satoru. If you appreciate the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what or who you want to see next in these type of videos. Without further ado, we're going to dive right on in. First things first, we have to talk about the power aspect, of course, between Sukuna, Yuta, and pretty much everyone else around. Now, while I don't think Yuta can beat Sukuna, because that's just silliness, if Gojo can beat him, then Yuta's not. But I do think he is good enough and strong enough to combat Sukuna and make him entertained even more than he was against Higuruma. When looking at Yuta was someone in his first true one-on-one fight in Jujutsu was against Geto, who was a special grade comparable to Teen Gojo pre-reverse curse technique. Even though it's not prime Gojo that we know, that Gojo is still stronger than majority of the characters we've seen in JJK to this day. And Geto was, I guess, even with him. And we saw what Yuta was able to do. Even if you want to go the route and say Geto would have won, like Kenjaku said, with all of his curses, Yuta was still a novice in Jujutsu at that time. And he still outclassed Geto. If you want to talk about Geto wasn't at full power, neither was Yuta. That was his first battle, getting a grasp of what he can do with Rika and everything else. After that, as we've seen, the man went on to master reverse curse technique, master his domain, get a new complete control over Rika, and it's confirmed that he's stronger than when he fought Geto, which shouldn't be something surprising because, like I said, he didn't have a grasp on all of his abilities compared to now, which obviously should show that if he would get a hold, he would be pretty powerful, which we know and see. Even beyond that, if you actually go back to the Shinjuku battle with Gojo and Sukuna, the most ludicrous Jujutsu techniques we've seen were on display. And out of the cast who were watching the fight, Yuta was I wouldn't say the main one, but he was one of the main ones who was able to identify what they were doing. For example, when Gojo used the reverse curse technique to heal his burnt out curse technique, he picked up on that. All the things he thought was impossible, he picked up on it before anyone else, even people like Hikari and Kashimo, who was alive like 400 years ago, was the strongest of his time. Combine that with the quantity of techniques he has: curse speech, Drew, Shikigami, what else? Sky manipulation that he got from Uru. Also with the fact that with Rika, now, I don't want to talk too much about Rika specifically, talking about Yuta this video, because Rika could possibly die, and I do see that really happening. But even with Rika, who is exponentially bigger in her non-awakened form right now against Sukuna, when he puts that ring on, Yuta basically has infinite cursed energy and can replenish it when it runs out, thanks to the reserves that Rika has. Continuing on, he was able to beat both Uro and Ryu, block a granite blast with his hand, and end the whole deadlock of the strongest colony at the time, while holding back. And who's to say what he's learned during the time skip where their lives are all on the line? Like, it's kind of setting up to be that they've learned pretty much a lot during the time skip, which I would hope they have. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any need for that, especially since they didn't show Gojo interaction with his students. But I digress. Something else that I find interesting about Yuta that I don't think a lot of people are looking into is the fact that Yuta was made aware by Uro of his humanity, basically being compared to Sukuna by Uro and saying that he's reaching his limit, where he didn't seem to say anything back, but it's shown in the panel that he took notice of it, and it's even implied that he went on after that. It really stuck with him because during the fight with Hikari and Arume, Hikari mentioned how Yuta came up to him and talked actually about humanity to Hikari. I think this is interesting because Yuta, more than anyone in JJK, is defined by his humanity. It was his humanity and the love of the people that he cared about that ultimately led him to become what he is today, and essentially saved him from the isolation people like Gojo, Kashimo, and Sukuna felt from overwhelming strength. It's like Yuta is a direct parallel to those type of characters in a different type of way. Not saying he's stronger than any of them, but highlighting, in my opinion, how Yuta was someone who seemingly broke the curse that comes with absolute strength, which is loneliness. When looking at even Gojo and Sukuna, their main battle was about finding that one person who could ultimately lead them to joy in battle and free them from their isolation that came with overwhelming power. That's why I bring that up. Yuta was kind of saved from that burden, something even his sensei Gojo couldn't do before his death in his own mind you. And why is this important? Well, for Yuta to willingly talk to Hikari about his humanity before the final fight of the series leads me to believe that Yuta will have some sort of awakening during this encounter with Sukuna. You see, Yuta knows and aware of his humanity. It's his greatest strength and also his greatest weakness in the world of JJK. For him to overcome that aspect of him, which shines so brightly and is a core element to his character, his humanity being the ones he loves about Maki, Inumaki, Panda, even Gojo. I know he's not alive, but still, I think for him to overcome that aspect, that will lead him to possibly an awakening of some sort. Because remember, Gojo, as strong as he was pre his death and being bodied by Toji, he didn't become the Gojo of today until he disregarded everything in front of him, even saying that he didn't care about Riko's death, because in the moment in that fight, everything just felt so good. And that's when he truly ascended to the strongest of today. When looking at Yuta, he's always compared to Gojo, the strongest in the series. Even Gojo believes he has the potential to reach him and surprise him. For Yuta to do that, he's going to have to come to terms with his humanity. And for us to see that and see it's actually been shown in the story, it only, to me, is going to add up to an explosive awakening. I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be able to beat Sukuna. Nothing like that. But it's going to be essentially the gateway that leads to him becoming, I don't want to say the Gojo of the new era, because there's not even no telling if the new era is going to make it out. But it's going to validate everything we've heard about Yuta. The second modern sorcerer, only the Gojo and unusual abilities. Things like that we hear and see about Yuta. I think it's finally going to blow up in astronomically way. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. Because as strong as Yuta is, as strong as we know Yuta is today in the world of JJK, he still hasn't shown everything he can do. Mainly being the domain, but we've only seen one true fight with Yuta, and I'm just waiting to see everything that he can unleash in a life or death battle, where not only is his humanity on the line, and he has to come to grasp with it, but at the same time, if he doesn't show up, everyone he cares about dies. And that's not like Yuta. he's gonna show up and ball out and do whatever he can to save those he cares about. Because in his mind, the ones he cares about is the only reason that he's living today. So I fully expect some sort of awakening for Yuta Okkotsu in the future. In my opinion, I think he's gonna solidify himself as the strongest behind Gojo. No questions asked. That's all I got for you today. I hope you liked the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, corrupted family, stay safe out there.